The 78th President of the National Bar Association, Tricia C.K. Hoffler, presents A Year in Review. President C.K. Hoffler was installed as President of the National Bar Association on July 29th of 2020 and held her first press conference on July 30th, where she announced the focus of her year would be three pandemics: voter suppression, police brutality, and the COVID-19 virus. Her theme for the bar year: kneel for justice and stand up to fight. The Police Brutality and Reform Task Force, co-chaired by past President and retired police chief and attorney Clarence Williams, continued the fight since the death of George Floyd impacted the nation and the world. The first signature event of the year, chaired by past President Patricia Rozier, was a successful Constitution Day designed to educate middle school children nationwide on the U.S. Constitution. The NBA partnered with the National Action Network in support of the Commitment March, celebrating the 57th anniversary of the March on Washington. On September 23rd of 2020, during the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's annual legislative conference, President Hoffler hosted a fireside chat with NBA member and Congressional Representative Bobby Scott. The NBA also celebrated honorees Representative Ayanna Pressley, Desmond Meade, Donald Cravens, and Lee Chapman. October 15th through the 17th of 2020, the 31st Annual Wiley A. Branton Symposium, hosted by Region 6 and our Detroit members, kicked off with a variety of engaging sessions, including free access to election protection training for 27 critical states-specific trainings. Highlights included a keynote address by Michael Eric Dyson and a critical piece of NBA history by Judge Wiley A. Branton, Jr., who gave a lesson on the life of his father, the man for whom this symposium is named, Wiley A. Branton. Award recipients included the Honorable Denise Langford Morris, the Honorable Craig Strong, and NBA Vice President Lanita Baker. Receiving Lifetime Achievement Awards were former Georgia Supreme Court Justice Leah Ward Sears, past President Harold Pope, and the Honorable Thelma Wyatt Moore. On October 20th, then Vice President candidate Kamala Harris virtually addressed the National Bar members at a virtual meeting convened by President Hoffler and NBA past presidents. The Election Protection Task Force, led by President Hoffler, Barbara Arnwine, Tanya Clay House, and Leslie Fields, led numerous webinars and training sessions for NBA members and the community at large to meet the needs of Black and Brown communities while staying protected from the coronavirus. The National Bar had a robust election protection program, partnering with hundreds of members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and Omega Psi Phi Fraternity to staff the NBA call center established by the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under the law. On behalf of the NBA, lawyers staffed 760 hotline shifts between October 19th and November 1st of 2020. The NBA partnered with several organizations that also prioritized the three priorities for Black and Brown communities, as well as issues of national importance. The COVID-19 Task Force, chaired by Marlon Primes and co-chaired by Karen Evans and Laverne Tucker, led the efforts of the National Bar to educate members through wellness webinars and provide protective equipment to members and the community at large through affiliate chapters. The task force also took on the critical issue of the digital divide affecting our most vulnerable youth with a laptop and smart device donation project through PCs for People. President Hoffler and the NBA International Partnership Chair John Woods convened the first ever virtual 3-day international summit with the theme Forging a Path Forward, Connecting the Diaspora to Attack Global Pandemics. President Hoffler opened the summit with a message in French, and sessions focused on international trade impacting the diaspora, police reform, and empowering women through the pandemic. Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, Professor George Edwards, and Sandra Yamante received the 2021 Global Advocate Award, and Sean Abney, Sheila Boston, and Yolanda Cash Jackson received the Jesse Jackson Sr. International Civil and Human Rights Award. The 41st Annual Gertrude Rush Awards and mid-year conference theme was Honoring the Past and Shaping the Future, and co-chaired by Bisa Ajanaku and Candace Smith. The conference hosted a number of panels focused on the three pandemics and included a job fair and prayer breakfast with a moving message by NBA Deputy Chaplain Reverend Freddie Haynes III, Senior Pastor of Friendship West Baptist Church in Dallas. The 2020 Gertrude E. Rush Award recipients included the Honorable M. Gino Brogdon Sr., David Green, Tanya Clayhouse, Leslie Fields, Bruce Jackson, and Don Jones. Recipients of the Heman Sweat Awards were the Honorable Asha Jackson, Anita Wallace Thomas, Terry Wiley, Akua Kapak, Jamie Boston, and Daryl Jones. As part of her campaign promise, President Hoffler also dedicated time and energy to taking the NBA to the next level with a number of multi-year partnerships that benefit NBA members. One of the first partnerships was with LexisNexis as the first legal technology and rule of law partner. In addition to a financial commitment, LexisNexis is developing a research portal for election protection litigation for use by NBA members. NBA member Deputy General Counsel Roderick Brown at LexisNexis worked with President Hoffler and Nigel Roberts along with the General Counsel David Green to cement a 3-year partnership. Sheila Boston and Rakia Pippins of Arnold & Porter envisioned partnership with the NBA that focuses on retention of Black attorneys in big law firms. The Associate Advancement Academy is a 3-year partnership and includes administrative support for the year-long programming that begins and concludes at the annual conference each year. In an effort to stay in touch and know how the three pandemics are affecting our members across the nation, President Hoffler hosted regional town halls and recognized living legends in each region that were nominated by affiliate chapter members. The NBA magazine, titled A Year of Challenges Through the Prism of Social Justice, focused on the three pandemics and relevant issues of the time. The editor-in-chief is Laverne Lewis Gaskins. This NBA was the host of the Coalition Bar Associations of Color Conference. The 4 founding partners convene annually to ensure active and continuing collaboration between bar associations of color to present important advocacy issues to congressional leaders on both sides of the aisle. In July of 2021, President Hoffler, past President Ben Crump, Chris Stewart, and Justin Miller, along with members of the George Floyd families, met with President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Representative Nancy Pelosi, Representative Karen Bass, and other members of Congress to push for passage of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. The success of the Presidential Appointments Project can be attributed to President Hoffler's regular meetings with both NBA senior advisors and the White House to ensure NBA members and candidates were considered for the federal bench, U.S. attorney positions, and federal agencies. NBA sections, divisions, regions, and affiliate chapters presented over 100 webinars, CLEs, and programs during the first ever fully virtual year. Many of the sessions were focused on the three pandemics and provided substantive information for our members to endure during these times. The Historic Firm Spotlight recognizes member firms who have supported the NBA for decades and continue to set an example for young and seasoned attorneys. The NBA burst into the national spotlight through regular media interviews and commentary. In addition to interviews on mainstream media like CNN and MSNBC, President Hoffler gave legal commentary on The Sybil Wilkes Show and hosted Law and Legal Tuesdays on The Wandalyn Stokes Show. President Hoffler commented on issues related to the Derek Chauvin trial and verdict, the shooting of Jacob Blake, and the killing of Dante Wright, among others. The success of the bar year is attributed to the hard work of President C.K. Hoffler, the Board of Governors, our past presidents, and the leadership teams of General Counsel David Green and Chief of Staff Akua Kapak. Meet the teams. Thank you for your support of the National Bar Association.
Hello, National Bar Association family. As we come to the end of President C.K. Hoffler's bar term, I want to take this opportunity to share with you some of the things that President Hoffler has led, particularly what the pro bono office of the General Counsel has done during President Hoffler's term. When President Hoffler contacted me and asked me to serve as her general counsel, and she told me her vision for the year, I knew I had to put together a strong team to make sure that we can keep up with the fast pace of CK Hoffler. There was a lot of ambitious things that she wanted to accomplish, but her bar year has been an extremely unique year. We've dealt with so many things, police brutality, voter suppression, COVID-19, and we needed a strong team in place. So I want to first start off with acknowledging the individuals who worked in the pro bono office of the General Counsel. First, let me acknowledge Roderick Brown. Roderick Brown has served the office in the role of reviewing contracts and vendor agreements. He played a crucial role in making sure that the contracts protected the interests of the National Bar Association, particularly as we are dealing with COVID-19. It was even more important that we had language in our contracts that protected us during these particular times. Roderick Brown has been indispensable to the office and has served the office and President Hoffler as if this was his full-time job, and his commitment to the National Bar Association is really appreciated, and the organization has benefited from his expertise, and I appreciate what he has done. Tammy Jackson has expertise in risk management. She serves as a vice president at a university, historically Black university. And we wanted to make sure that the National Bar Association was physically sound, that we were paying attention to risk management, that we had appropriate insurance coverage, that we was doing what we could do to minimize the risk. Tammy Jackson has came in as a deputy general counsel and has been invaluable in those efforts. And I want to thank her for her commitment and service to the office of the general counsel. And I know President Hoffler shares in thanking Tammy for the work that she has done. Christine Matthews has worn many hats on behalf of the National Bar Association this year. In addition to her work with the 40 Under 40 presentation, she has served as a deputy general counsel. She has assisted the office with employment issues, ethics issues, and compliance. She has expertise in these areas, as well as having expertise in governance. She has been a valuable member of the Office of the General Counsel, and I want to thank her for her contributions. Jonathan Savage out of St. Louis, Missouri, has also played a key role in the office. As part of his practice, he's a litigation specialist. And on behalf of the Office of the General Counsel, he has assisted in legal research. We had law interns throughout the year and over the summer. He has supervised the law interns in their work, and he has assisted the office and President Hoffler in the presidential appointments. And I want to thank him for his invaluable service. Sherry Selby Pearson has been also very helpful in the office. She has assisted in a memorandum of understandings that we had entered into with different partners. She has reviewed other vendor contracts, and she's also assisted with the presidential appointments. And I want to thank her for her service. Jonathan Goins has expertise in intellectual property. He has been instrumental in making sure that we had sound copyright and trademark policies. He had played a key role in filing for trademark protection to make sure the NBA logo was protected. And he has been an important part of the office as well. And I want to thank him for his service. Lily Couture has expertise in tax, and she's also been an important part of the office, assisting our sub-entities, working with the sections and divisions and affiliates, and providing guidance and attending meetings to make sure that the whole organization, including our sub-entities, was serviced as well. And I want to thank her. And finally, we had an opportunity to work with a legal intern who started with us at the beginning of the year in about August or September. He stayed with us throughout the summer. Reginald L. Woods is a rising third-year student at North Carolina Central University. He has provided research and support throughout many projects on behalf of the Office of General Counsel, and I want to thank him for his service and his commitment to the office. I want to take this time to highlight for you a lot of the work that the Office of the General Counsel engaged with. President Hoffler has had an outstanding year and an extremely busy year. And there was a lot of things that occurred, and it was important that she have a strong General Counsel's office behind her. As we saw at the change in the politics, President Hoffler began her term at the end of July of 2020. At that point, there was an election going on, and we were busy making sure that we were on the front line with respect to election protection. That we wanted to make sure that our attorneys were supporting the many communities and making sure that every person had the fair right to vote. And then we had the opportunity to transition, and we saw a change in the White House. And the change in the White House has invited the National Bar Association to be an active partner. That the White House has worked closely with President Hoffler and asking her for her input on recommendation for individuals to be considered for vacancies in the Biden-Harris administration. We have played a particularly important role with recommending judges or practicing attorney to fill vacancies on the bench, as well as recommendations for individuals to be United States Attorney. So the Office of General Counsel provided deputies to assist in an active process. And at the end of this bar year, we'll be able to say that we've recommended close to 100 people to be considered for vacancies in the Biden-Harris administration. It's been a busy year, and it's been an exciting year. And the Office of General Counsel has been extremely busy working with President Hoffler in this effort to make sure more Black and Brown attorneys will have leadership positions in the Biden-Harris administration. We also had the opportunity to participate in important discussions regarding the George Floyd Policing Act, changes and amendments to the voting rights. We provided research. We participated in discussions with leaders, including having conversations with Senator Booker, the governor of Minnesota, conversations with the White House, making sure that the National Bar Association was an active voice in these extremely important discussions. And the Office of General Counsel wanted to make sure that we were a strong voice and provided President Hoffler with the resources and the information that she needed to represent the National Bar Association. We also entered into memorandum of understanding with other partners who were working on similar issues. So we worked in Florida with respect to the Florida restoration rights to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to vote, and those who might have had a criminal record were in position to pay their restitution and get their right to vote. We worked in Florida with respect to CLE. Florida Supreme Court indicated that if you participate in the CLE that had a diversity requirement, it actually said those CLEs will not be recognized. President Hoffler issued a strong opposition and filed it with the Florida Supreme Court. And the Office of General Counsel assisted her in making sure that the National Bar Association was at the table. As many of you know, we have past President Paulette Brown, the only woman to serve as both of the president of the National Bar Association as well as the ABA. And when she became active and asked the National Bar also to be heard, we were happy to provide the support of past President Brown and make sure that President Hoffler was able to weigh in on that extremely important issue. And one of the things that was important for the National Bar Association to do, particularly this year, is to make sure that we were continuing to grow as an organization. And that as an organization grows, it has its own growing pains. And we had to kind of stop and do some look internally. What is it that we needed to fix? What are some of the things that we needed to do? And one of the things that President Hoffler saw as a priority was the fiscal policy of the National Bar Association. She asked Vice President Henry Floyd to take the lead in drafting and making changes and reviewing that policy. The Office of General Counsel worked closely with Vice President Floyd to make sure that we can protect the integrity, that we had transparency in our financial statements, and put together a policy that makes sure that we can let the world know what we were doing as an organization and that we remain fiscally strong. So those one of the things that the Office of the General Counsel spent a lot of time this year working with Vice President Floyd and putting together a revisiting the policy, reformatting that, and making sure that it was updated. We worked with previous General Counsel Taya Gray on the Leadership Development Institute and providing support and participation as we prepare for the next leaders of the National Bar Association and make sure that we remain strong as an organization. And one of the things that we saw that as time changes and individuals leave the office of the National Bar Association, that we needed to kind of tighten up our internal infrastructure. So we wanted to put things in place, put a process in place to make sure that we would address in previous audits, that we would submit our tax information on time, that we would maintain appropriate record keeping, that we had a financial structure that will always keep the organization strong. We had stumbled in the last few years, but we're now back on track. With the hard work of many people within the National Bar Association, we are in a better position fiscally, and we have put things in place, and we are continuing to work to make sure that the office has a strong infrastructure as it moves forward. And one of the things that we also had to particularly work on is making sure that in 2021, as we're dealing with COVID-19, that the contracts in which we entered into better protected the interests of the National Bar Association. As I indicated earlier, Rod Brown played a crucial role in reviewing our contracts. We worked with other organizations, looked at what they were doing with the clauses within contracts that made sure that the National Bar was protected. We made changes to required provisions within our contracts, and we took a closer eye on the contracts to make sure that in these particular unique times that the National Bar Association interests have been protected. So we have engaged in a lot of things, this year. The office has been extremely busy. We all know President C.K. Hoffler is just an outstanding attorney, outstanding leader who has a lot of energy, a lot of drive, and she wanted to accomplish a lot. So it was extremely important to have a strong office behind her. We've had a busy year. We've done a lot of things. And I want the organization to know that the National Bar Association remains strong. It is getting stronger. And we are building an infrastructure to make sure that the National Bar, even 100 years from now, is as strong as it is today. I was honored to serve as General Counsel during this bar year. I was honored to work with so many dynamic individuals who have the best interests of the National Bar Association. And I am confident that moving forward, that the office of the General Counsel will be strong and the National Bar Association as an entity will remain strong. Thank you.
I'm Akua Kopik, and I've had the pleasure of serving as your Chief of Staff this year. We've had a dynamic team that supported the President's top priorities and ensured we continue to take the NBA to the next level. I had the pleasure of working with 9 outstanding women over this past year, and I'd like to introduce you to them. First, we have Elise Bailey out of Columbia, South Carolina. Elise was our Chief of Communications and did an amazing job uplifting the brand of the National Bar. Her excellent work product ensured appropriate messaging at all times. Next, we have Taisha Miley out of Philly, Pennsylvania. She's a hard worker, longtime NBA member, but never as active as she has been this year. She's a dear friend that I relied on heavily to help me complete NBA tasks and for personal uplifting. Next, we have LaWanda Hall out of Atlanta, Georgia. LaWanda has been a member of the National Bar for over a decade and active with many past presidents. She understands the brand of the bar and loyalty to that brand. While LaWanda is not a lawyer, she has educated our members on risk assessment, which is her specialty. She's participated in a number of webinars to educate our youth in post-COVID matters and making sure that their contracts, their offices, their practices are running well and appropriately. LaWanda is hardworking, reliable, and a critical member of the team. Next, we have Brittany Allen. Brittany Allen has been an amazing Deputy Chief of Staff this year out of Atlanta, Georgia. She's patient. She has had to multitask as her primary responsibility is scheduling and keeping track of President Hoffler's agenda day to day. Scheduling meetings, everyone who has requested anything from President Hoffler, whether it's remarks, greetings, participate in a program, has worked with Brittany. She's organized and an exceptional young lawyer. Brittany, thank you for your hard work this year. Next, we have Chloe Woods, Deputy Chief of Staff and YLD Chair-elect out of Phoenix, Arizona. Chloe has worked on special projects and partnerships that are very important to the NBA. While President Hoffler spends so much time creating the partnerships, we have to ensure that we provide the manpower behind the scenes to make sure these projects work. And Chloe has done that with our Airbnb partnership and our Arnold and Porter Associate Advancement Academy for Excellence. Chloe, thank you so much for your hard work. Next, we have Nakuma Wanikenyi. She was a late addition to the team, but just as valuable nonetheless. She helped fill in the cracks and add some energy as we were burning out midway through the year. Her expertise in international matters ensured a success of the International Summit, and we are so thankful for your hard work, Nakuma. Thank you. Next, we have Melanie Petway out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Melanie was also a late addition to the team and just as valuable. She is a joy to work with as she helped to fill in the cracks, step in when folks were getting tired, needed extra assistance on projects, and as things came up, she could just step in where she was needed and take it away. Thank you, Melanie. We appreciate your time and effort. Next, we have Darlene Taylor, a special assistant to the president. Darlene is the team member that has known President Hoffler the longest. She provided insight on decisions that we needed for our team and also was able to advise the president on decisions as well. She was an invaluable member when it came to congressional and legislative matters. Thank you, Darlene, for your hard work. We appreciate you. Next, we have Letitia Richards. Letitia is a bright young lady, a joy out of Florida, who loves social media and community outreach. She brought lots of opportunities to us and was able to respond and help push out the programming for the bar and a lot of the things that we did this year. She helped to uplift the brand of the National Bar to members of the community. Thank you, Letitia. We appreciate your hard work. And last but not least, even though technically she's not a special assistant or a deputy chief of staff, I want to say thank you to Wanda Flowers of the National Bar Association. Wanda was the glue that held us together between the administrative team, my team, and the administrative team in the office. She was a joy to work with, hardworking during the day and after hours. I held weekly meetings this entire year on Mondays in the evenings, and Wanda attended all of them. Well, maybe 98% of them. But still, we could not have had this year as successful without Wanda, for your hard work, for your just a pleasure to work with, and just the knowledge that you gave us during the year. So thank you, Wanda Flowers. Next, I'd just like to thank a few of the interns and other folks that helped us out over the year on special projects. We have Reggie Woods, Jada Booth, Alexis Hall, Joey Crittenden, and our YLD ambassadors that helped us out to bring up the end of the year to a success. Ashley Weathers, Majine Garcon, and Janiyah Boyd, thank you. Last but not least, I'd like to say thank you to a few members of the MBA family that have been supportive of me and the team and the president over this last year. We could not have done this without you. And thank you for all your hard work, for your support, never ending support. And I look forward to continuing to work with you in the future. Thank you.